Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Eric with SweetSpotDFS, and welcome to my DFS strategy video for the 2022 Genesis Invitational. Hopefully you had a chance to watch the preview video I put out earlier today as I went over all the pieces required to find the optimal lineup this week. If you haven't seen it, don't worry, I'll provide a link, top right-hand corner, drill down on that, watch it, come back here, because I'm going to put all those pieces together in combination with what I'm going to talk in this video to try to target the right 6 players to hit the optimal lineup. And in this video, we'll be looking at SweetSpot ranks, Marquee tee time pairings, anchor buckets, and using all that information to build the best lineups we possibly can to try to target those 6 players. And if you want access to that optimizer, I've actually updated this week where it will create nothing but unique lineups. So that's pretty exciting. If you don't want that version, you want the old one, just let me know. But in order to get it, you gotta be subscribed to the channel. And then in the comment section down below, give me your 2 favorite plays you're anchoring your lineups around. And then you're gonna have to email me at SweetSpotDFS@gmail.com. So that's one giveaway that I'm doing. The second giveaway is called a subscriber giveaway, which is gonna follow that same logic with that last giveaway. Be subscribed to the channel, comment down below, again, your 2 favorite plays this week, you're anchoring your plays around or your lineups around, and you'll get a free entry into this giveaway. You can get up to 4 free entries this week. Comment on the preview video that I just did, comment on this one, and tomorrow during the prize picks video, comment there as well as just being subscribed to the channel. And if you want that 4th additional one, retweet any of the tweets that have these videos in them, and you'll get an additional one that way. So you get up to 4. And we have to hit the goal of getting 300 subscribers. So if you're not yet subscribed, please do so. We just need 2 more, and we're running the giveaway at the end of the week. Again, it's for $10. And you know what? Just to sweeten it a little bit, if we get to 325 subscribers, I'll make this giveaway $25. So if, 25 of you guys, 27 technically, are watching this and aren't subscribed, you want a chance to win $25, subscribe, comment down below, get your entries in, and again, you'll get a good chance to win $25 this week. But currently, it's just 10, and we need 2 more subscribers. All right. The second giveaway, or the third one I should say, is the prize picks giveaway. If you haven't signed up for prize picks yet and you're in a state that allows it, I have a link in the description below. That link will get you straight to the sign up page utilizing the promo code SweetSpot. And if you sign up with that code, put $20 into your account, at least $20 into your account, I'm going to gift you $20 back. So that's all you got to do. Sign up, put $20 in your account. I will get you 20 back. And that way you're playing prize picks for free. But to add a little cherry on top, they're going to match your deposit up to $100. So you're going to play with $40 for nothing. Just signing up with prize picks and using the promo code SweetSpot. Super simple. And prize picks is super fun to play. So highly encourage you. Again, link in the description below. Let's go ahead. Let's get into this thing. We're going to start with the SweetSpot ranks. Now, just to give you a quick explanation of how I come up with these ranks, I know I said in my last strategy video that I was going to update how I score this. I just didn't have the time. Just didn't have the time to do it. So we're using the old method, which is looking at official world golf ranking, the 3 grass stats. This is looking at POA grass splits. Overall grass averages dating back to 2013, then top 10 success rates, and then 1 year's worth of POA splits. And then I'm looking at course history. We're only at 1 golf course this week, which is, again, Riviera Country Club. Bogey avoidance stats, birdie or better. And then these are recent form stats. So we're looking at DK average, and this goes back 7 weeks, by the way. DK average, recent form average, and scoring average. And then season-long stats, I'm looking at DK average for 1 full year. Scoring average, again, just one. All these stats are just 1 full year. So their scoring average, rounds under 70%, cut made percentage, and DK top 10 percentage. I've been keeping track of all these stats myself, so it's 1 full year's worth of data. You're not going to see that on DraftKings. It's just what I've compiled together. And it comes up with the score over here, which then provides the rank on this side. So let's talk about the top 20 in my ranking. Jon Rahm, number 1. No surprise there. Number 2, Patrick Cantlay. Number 3, Colin Morikawa. He actually is rated better in my rankings than Justin Thomas, which he is actually priced lower than JT. So there's good value there. And then number 5 is Victor Hovland. So really good value there, because Victor, if we go and sort by salary, he is our 8th ranked salary golfer, my 5th ranked sweet spot golfer. And then you can see the rest on there. I'm not going to go over every one of them. What I usually like to call out are value plays based off my rankings and based off the salaries. Now, just to give you kind of a, some kind of baseline to look at, the 9K range starts with the 12th. I should say this. There are 12 golfers in 9K and above. So if you think about that with rankings, it'll be easier to understand. If I sort this by ranking, what we have here is Mark Leishman is my 12th ranked guy, where we would typically start with a 9K range golfer. Mark Leishman is 7,900. And Matthew Fitzpatrick is my 11th ranked golfer. Obviously that's really good value there too. So both of these guys, good value in my estimates. Same with Taylor Gooch. Scotty Scheffler, who won last week, I don't really weight recent form super high. I do want it to play a factor into it, but I actually weigh down those recent form stats by nearly half of what a normal value would be in my model. Again, I do want him to get a little bit of a benefit, but I don't want recent form to be, put it this way, I don't want someone who played last week, let's say in the 6K range, I don't know, let's just say James Hahn played one tournament over the last 7 weeks. Like he lost his membership or whatever, he has sponsor invite, and he finished top 10. That top 10 would catapult his rank from 108 probably up here into the 80s. I've seen it before, and that's why I kind of curb those recent form stats. I don't want players to get misrepresented. So that's why Scotty Scheffler isn't that high, where maybe in some of your guys' ranks they would be. Either way, don't need to go too far into that. Seamus Power let us down last week, but he's rated really well in my ranks this week. Same too as Joaquin Niemann. He didn't miss the cut last week, but he's rated really well in the 7K range. So number 20 is Paul Casey. Looks like Sung J M is my 21st ranked guy, but here are my top 20. My goal is to get 4 of these guys to be in the optimal lineup. Last week we had 4 inside the top 21 of my ranks. So I wouldn't play all 4. I wouldn't play more than 4 golfers from this list. And if I'm being honest, I'm probably going to be a little critical of myself or critical of my ranks. I'm probably not going to select more than 3 from this range. I think 3 has a really good chance to finish inside the optimal lineup. And I think that's what I would go with when it comes to my ranks. Now, I use these ranks to try to find, I should say this, I use these ranks in my Marquee Tee Time pairings. And the too long didn't read version is I create a baseline, and if the 3 ranks for a golfer in a pairing are under that baseline, I highlight them with this dark green color. Let me actually go to like something like this. This is a normal golfer in the Marquee Tee Time pairing. The white text, or the light green text, I should say, these are honorable mentions. They're really close to that baseline, or they're worth talking about because they have 2 good golfers in it and then 1 kind of not okay golfer. So let me go ahead, let's filter this out. And you can see I have 6 total groups, but really I have 7 total groups, but really I have 5. No, I had that right the first time. I'm sorry, it was 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was wrong. It's 5. I can't count. And then we have 2 honorable mentions. So 7 groups total. Now, when it's 6 or more Marquee Tee Time pairings, I usually find 2 golfers from the list that you see on the screen that find themselves in the optimal lineup. 2 golfers. Last week we only had 1, but we only had 4 Marquee Tee Time pairings and 2 honorable mentions. But out of that whole list, only 1 was in the optimal lineup. John Rahm was there as well. He could have easily been in the optimal lineup had he won the tournament or even finished top 3. But I think he had, a 6th place finish? 10th place finish. So he didn't get it done, but that was a top 10 finish, needless to say. So what I would say to you guys at home is if you like 2 of these golfers up here, pair them up together. But guess what? don't pair more than 2. I would love the Marquee tee time pairings to get more than 2 optimal lineup golfers. At most, I've only seen 4. I've only seen 4 golfers out of this whole list be in the optimal lineup, and that only happened once. And then when it comes to 3, I've seen it 3 times. The majority are 2. We also see 1 a lot. And in 3 of the tournaments, we've seen 0. So there's a possibility the group of golfers you see on the screen aren't going to be in the optimal lineup. But I highly, highly doubt it. Very strong strength of field. The golfers in this group I like a lot. So when we do go to build lineups, we'll be focusing on the names and then looking at kind of the color over here. Now, I do actually have a rule. I'll highlight this first group. Very rarely, I think we've seen it just one time, has 2 golfers from the same group been in the optimal lineup. So you can use that to your advantage, you know, play the percentages. If I've only seen it once and I've looked at 30, 40 tournaments, chances are it's not going to happen again. So if you are pairing 2 or more up, make sure they're from different groups. So if I start with Colin Morikawa, I'm going to go ahead. Actually, he's not even in the in the Marquee tee time pairing. Remember, this light text color over here is an honorable mention. But if you see Xander and Colin, I don't know if it's easy for you guys to see on the screen, but it's Colin is 3rd on my model, and then Xander 6th. They're paired together with Cameron Champ, who's 84th. So them together, if they were just paired with a normal dude, like even if they were paired with Max Homa, who is 37th in my ranking, they would be in a Marquee tee time pairing. But because my 84th ranked guys, Cameron Champ, they're not. It's an honorable mention. I think that group is going to be pretty good. Either way, if you are pairing golfers together, I would do like a Matt Fitzpatrick in this group up here, and then mix it in with like maybe John Rahm or Jordan Spieth or Scotty Scheffler. Even Colin Morikawa, I would not mind. Remember, he's in the honorable mention. He doesn't really count in this logic that I'm telling you. Maybe you pair Fitzpatrick with Cameron Smith. Like, it's a really good combo to start with. Great value. Obviously, we just talked about it. Very good ranks in my model. And you could also then go to like a Colin Morikawa, who is in my honorable mention. Start 10, 9, 8. Super simple that way. And that's basically your traditional lineup build when it comes to salary. 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. So like that, I think we're going to try to build a lineup a little bit later with those ranks. Let's go into our anchor buckets. We talked about the buckets in full yesterday. So if you saw or earlier today, I should say, in the preview video. So again, if you haven't seen it, go watch it, because I'm not going to talk about all of these buckets. Instead, I've determined what my anchor buckets are, and that's by looking at, you know, this minimum projection, highlight or filtering. Let me put it a different way. I put a condition on this to look at a number of 1 or greater, or 0.9 or greater. In this maximum projection, I put a conditional in there that's looking at 2 or greater. So I want all my minimums to be at least 1, and I want all of my max projections here to be greater than 2. I don't want it to be a flat 2. I want it to be a little greater than 2, because that gives us a little bit of confidence when it comes to actually picking golfers from here. And again, how I look at this is making sure I have at least as many golfers that the minimum projections have, and I don't go over the number for maximum projections. I've actually loaded these into the optimizer. Let me zoom in a little bit here. I've loaded these into the optimizer, and you can see that all in here. So if you also get this optimizer, like you want to use this, again, be subscribed, comment down below your favorite 2 golfers. But if you want this, how I have it set up is this is my bucket logic right here. I am telling the optimizer I want at least 2 last year ones. And again, if you don't know what that means, watch the preview video I did earlier today. But I'm telling it I want at least 2 last year ones and a maximum of 4. So if I show you that here, look at that. The first bucket you see up there is the last year ones. 2.4 is the minimum. The max is 4. Again, that matches right here. Minimum 2, max is 4. So no matter what, the bucket system, or I'm sorry, the optimizer will select 2 last year ones no matter what. Doesn't matter what the rankings are. Well, it does. It'll use the rankings in combination with the bucket logic, and then it'll spit out some golfers for me. So again, if you want this, it's up to you. You have the opportunity to get this. And by the way, I'm leaving a link in the description to go over the spreadsheet, the cheat sheet that I have, as well as the bucket system. So these 2 tabs that I'm cycling through right now are available to you guys. Again, a link is in the description to get you there. It's on a Google Sheet doc, so all you guys will be able to, not a doc, but it's on a Google Sheet. All you guys will be able to use it. Doesn't matter what type of computer you have, doesn't matter if you have Excel, as long as you have a Google account, which is super simple to make and just requires internet, you'll be able to use that sheet. Make a copy of it. Again, making a copy is just going up to File and scrolling down to make a copy. You can see it on the screen right here. So then it'll be yours. And you'll be able to filter it. You'll be able to mess around with it however you want. But yeah, again, link in the description. Okay. So the anchors that we have, I confused myself because I'm on the cheat sheet. But here are all the anchor buckets. We actually have quite a few this week. And I think it's because this tournament is so... I don't want to use the word extreme, but it's, oh my gosh, it's unique to say the least. I can't think of the correct word that I'm trying to pull, but it's unique. And the uniqueness really just offers the same type of golfers finishing inside the top 10 more often than not every single year. High strength of field this week. Most of those golfers will be in these same buckets as well. I think that's probably another big tell as to why we have so many. And a lot of them are your 1 and 2 buckets, which first of all should be I wouldn't say a relief to you guys, but should give you kind of some kind of validation that these are the buckets you want to go by. They're the highest rated bucket. They're also the highest projected bucket, has super high strength of field attached to it. So it's a quality bucket. Again, we talked about these in the previews, so I'm not going to tell you what each of these buckets are. Instead, let's actually just look at some of the players that are associated with each bucket. So we'll go last year ones. And if I filter out by last year one, let's just go ahead and use let's use salary. That's easier for all of us to look at. You can see the ranks over here as well, but just going by salary. This bucket is super small, super easy to start your lineups right here. Remember, we want somewhere between 2 to 4 of these. Okay, never mind. Hold on. I have a filter on here. Let's remove the filter. It's not super small, has 28 golfers in it, but you can see all the golfers related to it. I kind of threw a curveball at you guys. So yeah, you can start with your 10K golfers if you want. Maybe you start in the 9K range. Here are some good golfers to, focus your lineups around. Or you just drop to the 8s and the 7s. Not a lot of 7s, actually. 3 7K golfers in total. If you want to find an 8K golfer, or if you want to roster an 8K golfer, this is probably the place you want to look. So the golfers I've highlighted here, 7 of them. You can pick one of them, maybe 2. Remember, we want at least 2, but no more than 4. So a great place to select your golfers from. The next one is last week 2. So we actually skipped the whole last year stat. Like we skip all the other 5 buckets that are in that last year stat, and we drop to last year 2s and 1s. So last year 2s, we want somewhere between 1 to 3. Remember, we're always rounding down in the projection minimums and always rounding up in the maximums. So last week 2s, let me go ahead and select everybody. Oh, there was some 6s involved there. I'm sorry. Let me look at the last year 1s again. It's a little bit smaller. I think I saw a couple 6s, but they should not have been involved. Last week 2s, remember 1 to 3. Again, we see John Rahm and Patrick Cantlay. So those 2 guys have shown up, and Xander as well. Basically, any of these 1-2s, these have already shown up. We've already looked at these guys. So this combination, kind of this intertwining with both the buckets, doesn't ensure that they finish inside the top 10. It just gives them a better opportunity to do so. So the golfers I've highlighted, they're probably golfers you want to anchor your lineups around. Again, where do you start? I like to start in the 10K range. I also don't mind the 9K range. I really like Fitzpatrick this week, but so do a lot of people. Maybe Alex Noren goes a little under the radar. I don't know. But either way, here are your last week 2s. Not a huge bucket to choose from. Remember, you want 1 to 3. Going to the next one, it was last week 1s. I should have already known that off the top of my head. But I don't know how many we need. We want 2 to 4. And really probably like 2 to 3 is what we're really comfortable with. And it starts with Collin Morikawa. Now, these are golfers who didn't play last week. And if they did, it was international. I only look at PGA Tour events. So if they didn't play in a PGA Tour event last week, they are counted as did not play, even if they did. Just that's how I do it. Collin Morikawa, Dustin Johnson. Remember, we want somewhere between 2 to 4, but really 2 to 3. So maybe we start here as well. I mean, I already saw the lineup with the Marquee Tee Time pairings. We start with Collin, then we drop down to, we saw Collin, and then we also saw Matt Fitzpatrick. So we have those guys. But guess what? Cam Smith is here too. So I already said we're going to start a lineup that way. That'll be the first one. Collin, Cam Smith, and then I already forgot Matt Fitzpatrick. But there's also Zalatoris, which I know is super popular this week. Not a bad play. Patrick Reed is down here. He's in a Marquee Tee Time pairing. I know Chad Eckert at the Fantasy Golf Pod. He loves Patrick Reed. He's a believer. Always play Patrick Reed, which I am not. I don't care. But hey, he's in the Marquee Tee Time pairing, and he's in a bucket that you want to be selecting from when building your lineups. So either way, he's there. My boy Thomas Peters is here too. Love to see it. But this bucket's pretty large. So this is where you could actually have some of your 6K golfers show up as well. Actually, this bucket's one of those that actually might over project. But this is based off of top 10 finishes, not off optimal lineups. So I'm still comfortable with that 2 to 4. Course history 2s, course history 1s. I think I'm just going to fly through these, let you guys look at it. I don't want this video to be too long. So, I encourage you guys, pause the video, look at the golfers that we're looking at or that I land on. And just for yourself to know which players you want to select. Here's your course history 1s. We want somewhere between 1 to 3. And it looks like 2 is a pretty easy number to select. So I would say at least 2 golfers from here. Select 2 of these guys. Will Zalatoris shows up. We already saw him. Joaquin Niemann, one of my favorites. A lot of good ones here. Maybe this is where you drop down in the 6K range, find your 6K golfer. But I don't know. Course history 2s. We want somewhere between 1 to 3 as well. Pretty much similar stats as the course history 1 buckets. You have Cantlay here, Morikawa, we already talked about him. Cam Smith, we already talked about him. Thomas Peters, Sebastian Munoz, another one of my favorite plays this week. Lots of people on these guys. The buckets are showing out you want to play some of these guys. So be aware of that. Those are your course history buckets that you want to select from. Let me scroll all the way down. Okay, JT Poston's the bottom of this one. So you basically see everyone on the screen there. And then I think we have 3 recent form buckets to look at. Recent form 1. All of these are 1 to 3 except for recent form 3, which is almost 2 to 4. So let's go ahead. Let's start with the recent form 3. A little bit easier to talk about since it's a little bit different than the other buckets. This bucket's not very large. We have 14 golfers? Is that true? 14. On average, we see 11, and it's still this highly projected. This will be easy. This is how you really pick the players you want to select from. There are 4 10K golfers. So I think you select one of these guys to anchor lineups around. There's my boy Matt Fitzpatrick we already talked about. Joaquin Niemann, I love that. There's also Will Zalatoris. He could be the chalk donkey that it just hits. But I really like Collin Morikawa. I obviously like Rahm Cantlay. Not super high on Thomas this week, but he can come out and play really well. Same with Xander. Really good selection of golfers to select from right here. But remember, it's 1 to 3. It's almost 2 to 4, but it's 1 to 3. So you take that however you want. I'd probably select 2 golfers, and it's going to be Fitzpatrick and Morikawa. I think that's just the way I want to build my line. Like, everything is pointing toward that. We've already talked about it like so many times. And I honestly didn't even look at this before running into it. I was quick to put everything together. So the fact that it's kind of rolling off the tongue as we go through this feels like it's a sign, right? Those are all the recent form. Actually, no. I'm sorry. We didn't go through all the rest of them. Let's go to recent form 2s. Remember, 1 to 3 here. Pretty large range, it looks like. A few of the high 6K golfers. So not bad. If you need a 6K golfer, these names aren't terrible. Same with your 7K range. I like them as well. There's our boy Seamus Power. 15th ranked in my model. Really good value. But there's Gooch, there's Scott, Homa, Sung J M. These are all really good players. But again, you want somewhere between 1 to 3. And then recent form 1s, again, we want somewhere between 1 to 3. Starts with Hovland, but then there's our boy Cam Smith. So Cam Smith, like I said, I know where we're starting our lineups. But you have a really good selection of players 7K and down. Maybe this is where we pick our 6K and 7K golfers from. Looks pretty good, honestly. This is a hard bucket to choose from. 1 to 3. And it's actually really low. Like 2.43 is on the low end of 2. And again, we're rounding up no matter what this number is. As long as it's greater than 0.00, we'll round up to the next one. So it's going to be 3. But dang, that is that's difficult. Because that bucket's so good. Has so many good golfers in it. 3 is my max though. That's all I'm capping it out at. I will not select 4 golfers from here. Makes lineups super interesting. All right. So we went over the 4 main ones last week, course history, recent form. Now the next ones, geez. These ones don't have as many years that I can pull stats from than the ones up here. So I'm not sure if these have really been normalized yet. But I can tell you what, finding a 10K golfer is something I'm going to do no matter what. Projections 1 to 3 that are going to finish inside the top 10. The frequency, now I'll say this, here's one thing to also note. The optimal lineup frequency rate, you can see right here, 25%. That means of the 4 years that I actually recorded salary data from DraftKings, there was a DraftKings in 2017, I don't have those salaries, but of the 4 years that I do, 10K golfer's only been in the optimal lineup once out of the last 4 years. But it does show up inside the top 10 100%. Now, before you start thinking about, well, that's not a very good clip of finishing in the optimal lineup, I would agree with you, but don't get too cute. 100% frequency inside the top 10. Remember, 10K golfers, if they don't finish inside like the top 4, even inside the top 5, they really don't provide the value needed to be in the optimal lineup, right? Because like, if you have a bunch of 9K golfers or 8K golfers that, you know, are, well, first of all, if you have like an 8K golfer that's a winner and you have a bunch of 9K golfers that follow with some 10K sprinkled in, the optimal lineup will always be 8, 9, 9, and then sprinkle in the 7s and 6s that make that lineup under $50,000. Personally, yes, I want to hit the optimal lineup. So when I see something like this, it does give me a little bit of cause for caution, but it is so much easier to start your lineups with a 10K golfer. You want to limit the amount of lineups you can build. Just simply put, you want to limit. And the best way to do that is by salary. If you start with a 10K golfer, automatically your salary, let's actually take a look. So if I start with the lowest 10K golfer, this is just a fun spreadsheet that I used to use for building lineups. Dustin Johnson's $10,200 this week. If we start there, average salary drops down to $7,900, meaning you have to drop into the 7K range in order to fill out the rest of this lineup. Personally, I like doing 776. Like I will always have some combination of 776, 766, 777, something like that in my lineups. This week might be beneficial to actually go a little bit more balanced, but either way, if you start there, you have 7,900, and if you want to start with ROM, you have 70 or 79. Now you have 7,700, which again, this limits the amount of lineups you can actually build. And that's a huge thing. I'm a big proponent of limiting the amount of combinations you can create because it just makes lineup building simpler, makes it easier. And personally, I think it gives you a better opportunity of actually hitting the optimal lineup because you're going to be disciplined in your lineup building, in my opinion. There are only so many options you can choose from, starting that way. 7Ks, I'm projecting 1 to 3. It's almost 1 to 4. You know, it's off by 0.03. We see every single year, if you look at the optimal lineups here, we see at least 2 in the optimal lineup every single year. We've seen a max of 4, but the minimum is 2. So it means, to me, always play 2 7Ks. And I basically just mentioned that. I'm not going to get cute. I'm not going to try to leave a bunch of money on the table. So take all that for what it's worth. Do you? I'm not trying to tell you what you should absolutely do. These are more suggestions. And then when it comes to strokes gain stats, I again explain what these are in the preview video. I'm selecting at least 1 from strokes gain 1, strokes gain 2, and strokes gain 3. And you can kind of see these maxed out. Now, when it comes to strokes gain 1, 3.01, technically you round up and that's 4. I'm gonna cut it off at 3. Like, I don't mind going to 4 because these are, you know, arguably your best golfers in the field. But I think I'm just gonna hold off. Again, we're looking at a full year's worth of data for strokes gain stats. So if all their stats are positive for the strokes gain 1 bucket, I mean, that's what the strokes gain 1 bucket is. All strokes gain stats are positive. I mean, we have 15 golfers in the field this week with those stats. I personally like somewhere between 1 to 3. And honestly, I think it's going to be at least 2. Yeah, for the most part, I want at least 2. But how I have the buckets already, or the conditionals already placed here, you can see what I have for strokes gain. 1's across strokes gain 1, 2, 3. And then 10K, 7K. You can see the rest of the buckets. I have this already loaded in. So if you want this optimizer, it's going to be sent to you loaded in. If you don't care about the buckets, go into each one of these and change it to 0 for minimum. And then for maximum, change it to 6. Because that way you won't have any conditionals whatsoever. It won't be strict. You'll have a lot of flexibility to build your lineups. And it'll all be based off of this metric that's right here. And also, let me know if you want the optimizer that builds nothing but unique lineups. I'll show you how that works here shortly. Or if you don't want that, let me know, and I will turn that logic off. But if you don't do the unique lineups, you're going to have to monitor it by the ownership column here. You'll have to put in your own values of where you want golfers. Like if you don't want to own Jon Rahm more than 30%, you're going to put it right here. And then the optimizer won't do that. You can also mix and match that with the unique optimizer as well. The unique lineup builder, I should say. But anyways, let's see, make sure everything is clear. Everything's clear. Guess what? We're building some lineups. Morikawa, Cam Smith, Matt Fitzpatrick. We're going to build with these 3 golfers. Let me give you the top 9 lineups. I'll just hit this run and save 9 times. And then also show you how the uniqueness, actually it's not built into this. I don't think it is. Let's double check. I'll see. I'll know as soon as it happens. First lineup has Leishman, Reed, and Pereira in it. It's pretty good. Looks like we're going to keep Leishman, Reed. Okay, it is using that. It's using that logic of unique lineups, which I'm glad that it's doing that. Man, Chad Eckert from the Fantasy Golf Pod is going to be happy. Patrick Reed is showing up so much, and that's gross. It's not gross that Chad likes them. I just don't like them, so it's gross to me. All right, so how this unique lineup optimizer looks, or how it works, is it's first looking at what is the lowest value from this metric in this lineup. It notes that it's Cameron Tringali. I have another column that does its computer work there, but then when I hit the macro that runs all of this, it will place all of the low metrics, whatever the lowest metric was, it'll mark them with the no over here. So if you do use this unique optimizer and you get to a point where you see nothing but ends, just go through here, highlight all of them, hit the DEL button, not the backspace, but the delete button, and it will clear all of it. So I'll go all the way down and I'll make sure I clear all of it. That means we don't need the optimizer to continue to skip those guys. But you can see Fitzpatrick, Smith, Morikawa, I'll keep those as Ys. I go here, it shows me the lineups that were saved, because when you hit that run and save 9 times, it'll do this. So obviously Morikawa, Smith, and Fitzpatrick are all anchors. You can see them there. But look at what we see. It's either Mark Leishman or it's Kevin Na. Golfers I've heard other people talking about, but honestly, I wouldn't be on. They're not sexy plays in my opinion. I really hate trying to trust Mark Leishman. I think he was on my blacklist at one point in time. Kevin Na can withdraw at any time. He has one of those tender backs, so be careful with that. Oh, here's another Mark Leishman. Jeez. But yeah, we have Adam Scott, and then Patrick Reed shows up a bunch. Patrick Reed, I'm glad to see some Seamus Power. That's great. And then this one is basically your lowest rated golfers. Starts with Mito, mix them together. Mito Pereira, KH Lee, Troy Merritt, Matt Wallace, Luke List, Siwoo Kim, Eric Van Rooyen, Corey Connors, Cameron Tringali. Those are actually pretty good ones. And if you want to see what the percentages look like, I do have the ownership here. Adam Scott in 11% of these lineups, Na in 44, Seamus in 22, Patrick Reed in 67. He is the highest. Actually, let's double check. Yeah, he's higher owned than Mark Leishman. Patrick frickin' Reed. Wow. You know what? I don't think I'm totally satisfied with that, because I don't care for Patrick Reed, nor do I care for Mark Leishman. So you know what? I can do this really easily. I'm gonna say no to Mark Leishman. I'm also gonna say no to Patrick Reed, because I just don't care, man. Don't care. Let me run and save those 9 lineups again, and now the optimizer won't select them. Maybe I'll break the optimizer. The optimizer will be like, yeah, I don't know what to do if it's not Patrick Reed or Mark Leishman to go along with Morikawa, Smith, and Fitzpatrick. I'm already liking these lineups a little bit more. Maybe not so much Kevin Na. He's showing up way too much. Looks like Seamus Power is a staple. Same with Kevin Na. There we go. Had a Paul Casey sighting there. The optimizer probably won't do this to you. It doesn't do this to me on my laptop. But it's just saving lineups, so it's kind of like going back and forth. It's like a robot doing what I would do manually. There we go. We got all of these guys all together. Perfect. A bunch of Kevin Na, which I don't care for. But yeah, I love seeing Seamus Power. I don't mind seeing like a Paul Casey, a Taylor Gooch, or an Alex Noren. Those are all okay. And then these guys here. Again, we have Corey Connors, Luke List, Siwoo Kim. So these are kind of our glue pieces right here. They show up a lot. Tringali shows up. Lonto Griffin. So anyways. Let's say we don't want any of that. I should actually make a button to clear all of this too. I think I do, but I don't want to hit the reset all because it just changes too much. How about we just go, okay, so that was our favorite lineup to build with Collin Morikawa. What is the best, what are the best, I don't want to go 9. Let's just do 1 at a time. So Collin Morikawa is actually paired with Matt Fitzpatrick, and then Taylor Gooch, Mark Leishman, Abe Answer, Seamus Power. So that's the most optimal lineup when it comes to building with Colin Morikawa. I like that. That's a good lineup. If I didn't look at those buckets as I was doing this video, I probably would start with Patrick Cantlay. So I want to see what the most optimal Patrick Cantlay lineup would be. Maybe I'll do 4 of them. Okay, this is interesting. Cantlay, Hovland, Leishman, Casey, Power. Power shows up again. Charlie, Hoffman. Well, if we just hit run optimize again without saving, Hoffman will be excluded because he was a low one. So now goes Brandon Grace. Nothing changed with the top 5. Let's see if we run optimizer one more time. Okay, it changes a little bit. Cantlay, Fitzpatrick, Gooch, Neiman, Casey, Noren. That's a fantastic lineup. Super good. If I want the optimizer to be like, you know what? We need a 9K golfer. I definitely want a 9K. Let's do this. So now make sure it selects a 9K golfer. It has Hovland, 3 7Ks, Neiman, Power, Reed, and KH Lee. KH Lee will be excluded from this next one. There we go. Cantlay, Smith, Fitzpatrick. Nah, Power, Wise. A pretty good lineup there too. And again, this is all built off of the metric in this column. So if you actually rate out golfers a little bit better than what I have, go in here and manually change. Like if what's an easy one to remember? 1095 Cameron Smith. If I put him at 2000, no matter what, the optimizer is going to select him. Doesn't matter. Like he's just too good of a value. So no matter how many times I hit this run optimizer, because he's so high, he's going to be picked more often than not. So that's one way to do this lock theory or this lock logic that I have. But you don't have to do that. But anyways, actually, let me give you the best lineups here at the top. Let me give you the best 10K, each 10K lineup. So it starts with Mr. John Rahm. Let me just hit it like 4 times and go to the next one. So very similar to what we saw with Cantlay, Smith, Leishman, Casey, Power, Hoffman. Gooch gets in there now. Same with Matt Wallace, but the other 3 stay the same. So Cameron Smith is going to show up a bunch. That, no surprise. Okay. Go to Justin Thomas. Again, we already did Morikawa. We already did Cantlay. We already did Rahm now. So JT, Cam Smith, Fitzpatrick. There you go. That's putting Smith and Fitzpatrick together without me even trying. Seamus Power and Patrick Reed showing up a bunch. Okay. I'm going to skip that. And how about some DJ lineups? And again, we're making sure it selects a 9K. So actually, let me remove that. Maybe it won't. And it doesn't. Spieth, Fitzpatrick, Neiman, Casey, Reed. Now Reed actually gets the boot. He's the low one. Nah will get the boot here, which great. I don't want to see that much Nah. Smith, Fitzpatrick, Neiman, Power, Siwoo Kim. That's a really good lineup there. So maybe one of those lineups will be the optimal lineup. It's using all of our bucket logic. It's using the ranks. What I didn't do is, well, I did in the first lineup builds was look at Marquee tee time pairings. Obviously, you know, Colin Morikawa was a notable mention, or an honorable mention, I should say. But looking at Cam Smith and Matt Fitzpatrick, again, if we go back to the cheat sheet, search by salaries, all of these in the dark green, these are your Marquee tee time pairings. We have Cam Smith as one of them. We have Matt Fitzpatrick as an honorable mention. Maybe I need to change that up. I forgot he was an honorable mention. Forgot about that. Maybe I need to do maybe I should do what I have in the thumbnail. Let's do that really quick. Let's put Mr. Morikawa together with Victor and Cam Smith. Oh, Cam Smith is my 9K golfer. Maybe it's not Morikawa. Maybe Maybe we keep it Cam Smith, Matt Fitzpatrick, and one of these 10K guys up here. DJ, we already saw that, right? Cantley. JT would be a good one. Actually, how about this? Let the optimizer select the 10K. It's Morikawa. That doesn't work out, optimizer. Come on now. Try it again. JT, Smith, Fitzpatrick, Leishman, Pereira. So that is the optimal lineup for starting with Fitzpatrick and Cam Smith. Not terrible lineup. It's pretty fun. Again, giveaways. Like I said, you want $10. Be subscribed. Comment down below your 2 favorite golfers you're anchoring your lineups around this week. Again, if you want more entries into this giveaway, comment in the preview video. Comment in the prize picks video I'm going to put out tomorrow. You can do that anytime up until Sunday. So you can get 3 entries that way. If you want a 4th one, share any of the videos I tweet on Twitter. Just retweet them. So simple as that. You'll get a 4th one that way. That's all you got to do. So with that, I've got nothing left. Thank you for watching all the way up to this point. I thought I had something to say, but I don't. Thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.